But yeah, it's Riverside County, but officially it is, I think it's 92569, 925. I think the zip code is 92569. It's Gilman Hot Springs, California, and it's located on Highway 79, California Highway 79, or Gilman Springs Road is the actual road, a highway that goes right through the center of the property. The property is split by actual highway, and they dug tunnels under that highway so people could go back and forth. I talk about that. I'll talk about the entire evolution of how they used to have gates on the highway. So if you wanted to go from the north side of the property to the south side, you'd have to go through these pedestrian gates and you'd have to run across the highway. It was kind of like Frogger. You'd have to dodge like the cars to get across the highway. And, but at meal times, you'd have 300-400 people from one side of the property going to the other side of the property to eat. And then after everyone had eaten, they would go back. And it was a safety issue because you'd have all these people flooding across this highway. There were no stop signs. It was just, hey, there's a whole bunch of people running across the highway. And also there were 6 of these pedestrian gates that led from different sides of the property to the other. And you could just walk out of them. There was no way to lock them because people had to come in and out all the time. So if you needed to go across the property, you just push in the code and you'd walk out or you'd walk in. And they lost a lot of people leaked through those gates into the free world. So, and eventually they would build 2 tunnels, one near the RTC buildings, and then one near the center of the property. And that's how we all went back and forth from the property. And so people that were restricted to the base, if they needed to go to the other side of the property, they just went through the tunnel. They couldn't, make a break for it on the highway or anything like that. But yeah, pretty crazy place.
Interesting. Very interesting. When you got there, late 90s, is that what you said? Or early?
1990.
Yeah, 1990.
1990. I got there in, I want to say it was May. It was right after my birthday, and my birthday's in May. So yeah, I think it was in the late May. Yeah, maybe late May is when I showed up there.
All right. And about how many people were there in terms of working staff?
I think it was nearly, I think it was 800, 900 people. It was a lot of people, maybe even almost 1,000 people that were there at the property. And it's actually kind of funny because the base is a good barometer of how many people are in Scientology, because in the late 80s, early 90s, there's probably several hundred, 800, 900, maybe 1,000 people there at the property. And a lot of people say that there was about maybe 100,000 active Scientologists that were participating in Scientology at that time. And now, from what I've heard and from people who've escaped the property more recently, there's about 200-300 people there at the international headquarters. And there's about 20,000 active, maybe 20,000 active Scientologists in the world. So I think it's a good barometer of, how active it is. And also just to show you, these people that are at the base, they're the most, per Scientology standards, they're the most qualified, most dedicated, longest in, like dedicated Scientologists, and Sea Org members. So that's your highest level of dedicated Scientologist as a Sea Org member. And they sign a 1 billion-year contract. And so of 1,000 of those guys, 700 decided, I don't think so. So that's saying something. These are the guys that are hardcore. And they're like, no, I'm tapping out.
Yeah, that actually really is. That's a very good statement. I was going to go in that direction, so it was perfect. God, 200 or 300. That property is so big. Only having, it must be like, they must be swimming there. It must just be like, empty rooms and, there's the, okay. So
that's funny you say that, because for the entire 15 years that I was there, they were building what were called the berthing buildings. It was the staff housing that was going to be located on the property. For most of the entire 16 years that I lived there, staff at the base either lived on the property, there was some housing on the property, they lived directly next to the property. Scientology bought every single possible house that was located adjacent to the property. There's a golf course that the Scientology owns, and there's a road called Sublet Road that leads all the way along the golf course. And there was probably about 20 or 30 houses along that road. And systematically, Scientology bought every single one of those. And that's where a lot of people lived. But other than that, they lived in apartment complexes in San Jacinto and in Hemet. And over the years, they kind of phased them over to living on the property. And the berthing buildings were never completed while I was there.
All the way up until 2005.
It took more than 15 years for them to complete their own staff buildings there at the property. I mean, they built the Empire State Building in 2 years during the Depression. But it took Scientology 15 years to build some apartments on their own property, no less, with their own workforce. But they built them at the time when they were designed. It was like, well, we need to build enough so that the entire base has all of the posts filled. So they built 4 buildings that would hold 400 people each.
Okay.
So now those buildings are done. They have completed them. And they have 200, 300 people living there. So there's a lot of empty rooms in those apartments.
All by itself, that must be causing some cognitive dissonance in some of the people who are still there.
You got to think so. Well, when I was there, we had all these, and I talk a lot about this in my book, but we had all these different drills because the Sea Organization was originally at sea. Was when Hubbard was evading, he was evading his captors, whatever various country governments were after him or tax authorities. The one place he could find that was sort of a safe haven was the ocean. So that's where he started the Sea Organization, and I think it was 1965. And
67.
67, there you go. So they have all these drills that you would have on a ship, fire drill, man overboard drill, all these different drills. Well, those all carried over to land because Hubbard wrote all these policies for the Sea Org. It didn't matter where we were. It didn't matter that we weren't at sea anymore. We still had to do all this stuff as if we were. So one of the things is we had all these drills. We had a fire drill. We had an earthquake drill, being in California. We had a flood drill. We had a blow drill so that if somebody escaped, there was a bunch of people that were put into action to track that person down. And we had a security drill. So if the power went out, we also had a power drill. So if the power went out, that means the security force would lose all their perimeter cameras and so on. And so the male staff members at the base would form a physical perimeter all the way around the property. So you'd have to be able to at least see a guy 100 yards away and then him, so on and so on, all the way around the entire property to form a human perimeter. But whenever any one of these things would happen, we'd have one of these drills. So, but out of the fire and the flood and the security and the power, the drill that happened the most was the blow drill. You could be a fire drill maybe once every 5 months or a power drill every 2 months, but we had a blow drill just about every week or every other week.
Wow.
So, and that really makes sense. If you go from 1,000 people to 300 people, you got 700 people. You got to, onesie here, twosie there. Maybe you don't have any for a month or two, then you have 5 that month. So there's a lot of people getting the hell out of there.